Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's October 17th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And real quickly, look at our daily chart. You can see we made a new contract high yet again today, then sold off. There was a big gap on the chart this morning. Um, Prices tried all day to fill that gap. It couldn't quite get there. The buying just came in too strong back down around that level. But they came really close. We'll see that when we flip over to the intraday chart. But we're getting closer to this measured move. We hadn't quite made it yet. Um, we'll see what happens. So we're really close. Actually, there's another way you might measure this from right in here, and you can see we're real close, or even just right in here where the closes were, and we've made it based on that. But I generally like to use the whole move, and we'll see if we get that whole move or not. We haven't quite got there. We're not far though, and so we're close to making that two legs up. But anyway, there it is on the daily chart. Let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, and we'll go through the trades, and we'll wrap this week up. Okay, it is Thursday, so this will wrap up our week. If you're new to the our videos, I don't do a video on Fridays. It's just too much for me, so I like to get out of here early on Fridays. So no chart lessons on Friday, just Monday through Thursday. And here is our 2000 tick chart. You can see that we trended down. Looked like we got real close to testing to fill in that gap. The gap this is where we opened at 8:30, and this is where we closed yesterday. So just pretend this part in the gray is not here, because that's overnight, part of the overnight session. So back in the old days, the regular session open would have opened here, where prices closed here. And prices don't like to leave those gaps. They like to come back and start over where they were previously and then work higher. And so sometimes that gap is lower, sometimes it's higher. It just depends on how the market did in the overnight, really. A lot of times there's not much gap at all. Like yesterday, I don't think there was a gap. You can see we opened here and within a minute filled the gap. I think the same thing happened, well, the previous day. Now we had a gap. We opened here and we never filled that gap. We did fill it the next day, it looks like, but we didn't fill it that same day. So anyway, that's what we're talking about when it comes to filling that gap. Again, no major news news announcements today. So, I mean, that's probably one reason why the market's not doing a whole lot here. But anyway, let's zoom in here. We'll go through the trades and we'll wrap this up. But you can see how close we came, so close to filling that gap. Just didn't quite get it. So, but prices tried all day. But let's zoom in here. We'll go through the trades and we'll call it a day. But 7 o'clock came right in here. I think this bar started at 7:04. It's a shame that bar. There's a second entry there, but this signal bar just does not qualify. I wish this would have made made an equal touch. You could have traded it then. It turns out to be a good move, but it's just not tradable. We did get a second entry here. Notice the first entry, and then it breaks lower and turns up. So when it goes past the top of that red bar, that's a second entry. I don't know that I would trade this. You'd have to just about trade it on the engulfing bar. I definitely wouldn't go long up here at the highs when we've already got a break and a couple of swings up. We do end up getting another equal leg up, but you don't know for sure we're going to do that. You might get some resistance there and turn down, maybe just enough to stop you out before it does make another leg up. But anyway, you might enter here on the engulfing bar. It's a second entry. There's plenty of room to the high. I did make it green because I think you have to enter on the engulfing bar. And people, if you're new to trading, you need to be real careful with engulfing bars. So then we got to work it now. We got to close outside new low, and then we make a lower high that turns back down. We aren't quite back to the EMA, and there is room in there, I think, to scalp out. And you could You could argue we tried to go higher 3 times here. That's a possibility, but you never know if we're not working a. This was a big spike up, so we could go into a spike in channel, and I think it's just a little bit early to be going short yet. I think you want to see prices at least get below the EMA. And so here's a better entry. Notice that you made a new high there. It's higher than that swing high. So this is a first entry, second entry that fails. So that's probably going to trap some longs. And look at it go. That if you catch that trade, you probably catch a runner, and that's probably the only trade you need all day long. I mean, if you can just get this much of this when the first bar even turned green that it broke above, you're getting 13 points really. What I'd probably do is wait till you made a green bar outside and a break above it, then I'd probably exit, and that gives you at least 17 points. So on a single runner, and if you got multiple runners, depends on your trading, where you're at with your trading. But I had that conversation with somebody today. I get that conversation quite a bit. People say, you know, the risk reward just doesn't work for this strategy because on my losers I lose more than 8 ticks, and on my winners I don't get before ticks. And my answer to that is that if you look at this chart, look at all the huge moves on this chart where you're going to easily get where 4 ticks is like a gimme. I mean, we're trying to get 4 measly ticks, so it's a gimme. So if you can read this chart properly and enter at the correct place, it's almost a guarantee you're going to get at least 4 ticks. And so the problem is, if you're losing, you're not ready to trade live. And I try to explain that to people, and people just get mad at me. We talked about this yesterday. If you can't find 4 ticks on this chart 2 or 3 times a day, then you're not ready to trade live, period, much less scalp. And it's not really that hard, but getting there is difficult. You need the experience. But look at all these moves where you get, not only you get 4 ticks, you get 4 points to 15 points. I just showed you one move that was good for, how many points did I say? 17 at the minimum, I think. I can't remember what it was. Let's remeasure it. If you catch this move right here, which was pretty easy to catch, you can get 12 to 17 points easy. I'm talking about just a gimme. And that trade took 0 heat whatsoever. It broke lower and took off. No heat whatsoever. So the key is entering in the right places. If you're just looking for patterns and entering, you're going to lose exponentially. We're not pattern traders. Make sure you understand that. We are chart readers first and foremost. So what we're doing is we're looking at prices and we're trying to figure out where they're headed and what they're doing, and we're looking for an entry in advance. So I was assuming this was going to top out, so I'm waiting on an entry to get short, and that's the one I used. Hopefully you get a good second entry short with the trend, but you don't get that. You actually get that here, and I actually forgot to mark that. But there's a simple second entry short right there with the trend. It's another gimme. But it doesn't end up making a new low yet, but it's an easy, if you just exit on that first bar, it's an easy scalp. And if you exit when you start to see this bar reversing, or exited at the low, it didn't quite get to the low, I mean, you could have got 3 or 4 points on a runner there. It just depends on how you play it, but at the very least you get an easy scalp. And the only reason I didn't like this failure and reversal here was because it was back inside this little resistance, and it's in this range, and I was afraid that it would touch and go lower, because we're still right here. We're expecting prices to make a new low, not go higher. So this is like a trap and a move higher, but you would have already been out of that with your scalp. And we get 2 legs up, and unfortunately you don't get a signal bar there. You do make a lower high here, but you can't go short there. It looks congested. It's moved too far. But then look, you get a break of this channel down, and you're still looking for a retest of this low, and you get a first entry, second entry. quick and easy. And it's a great signal bar. And there's another easy move down. If you just ride it till you get a break above the first green bar, there's 6.5 points. And again, you definitely get a runner there. So the key is understanding what prices are doing. And here you need to know that prices are trying to go lower. They're going to make a retest of this low here. And we actually not only get a retest, we get 2 legs down to a retest. Because you get this correction here and then another leg down. And I don't see anything here that's worth it. You do get an overshoot here, in my opinion, and it just kind of reverses. And then you get another second entry short when you're looking. Notice that we got this trend coming up that gets a break and a new high. And this one had an overshoot, so we already had a break and a new high here anyway, but you get an overshoot as well. So all we're doing is we're playing this one, and we're looking for a new low. And we may get a second measured move like this. So another easy trade that gets an easy runner for several points. And then it reverses. It turns down again. It's only a first entry, so we don't trade that one. Then we're just chopping sideways. I don't see anything in there I want to trade. Somebody may ask me about a long. Don't go long there because you're in a downtrend. And it hits the trend line and turns down again. Unfortunately, no setup. And then it makes almost a perfect measured move and reverses. And again, there's no setup to reverse with here. You get a first entry here, and then you can again you get another second entry that confirms the trend line. Now you may not get a big runner on this one, but why can't you get 4 ticks there? It doesn't take any heat either. It's easy 4 ticks, second entry with the trend, going where you expect prices to go, and it's right off a key entry point. I mean, the key is figuring out where to enter and entering properly, not just entering because there's a pattern. Now understand too, we just got a break of this channel and we don't have a retest. It takes a while, but it finally makes a new low. Does it make one there? No, it doesn't quite get it. So it continues on down till it makes a new low right in here somewhere. And plus we're trying to, and the whole day you had to figure we're trying to fill this gap. If you understand what prices do, you know they're going to probably try to. Do they always fill the gap? No. But 90% of the time they try to fill, they at least try. And sometimes you'll make a couple of tests that are higher and they don't get there and it reverses. Sometimes it never reverses. It just keeps trending the other direction. It never goes back to fill the gap. But when it starts trending down, you had to assume, hey, we're trying to fill that gap. But anyway, you get a break here, 2 legs up, and another second entry short. Now it's a big, huge bar, and somebody will probably say it's too risky. You know, my stop had to be 15 ticks. I can't risk it. Well, you got your break, 2 legs up. Usually I would probably mark this green, but since it was a second entry short, I didn't. But you easily get a lower high right here that tells you, hey, we're headed to the trend line. And once again, you get an easy runner here, and you could at least get 2 points, but I'd probably wait till I got this bullish bar that gets a break above it, and there's 5 points on a runner. Easy. But you got to know what to look for. You got to have the confidence, you got to have this experience and confidence to trust it. And that's the other thing, people don't trust them because they don't have any experience. You're not sim trading, you're just trying to go live, and if you go live with probably out a year or 2 of having not only learned the strategy, but getting a year or 2 of pretty much trading every day, at least 6 hours on the simulator, you're probably not ready to go live. Yeah, you can learn the strategy and get the basics of it, but you're not going to have the experience. You're not going to have proven to yourself you can do it, so you're going to question it. And that's where all the mental things come in. It's a lack of experience. And so you got to sim trade this stuff. I can't say it enough, but notice you get your break, move to a new low, and it reverses here. Exactly what we tell you price action will do. And you get a big trend up, close outside new high. That one's tempting, but the bar is really big and it's in congestion, so it may snap back, which it does. and then it finally makes a lower high here. So this one's a little congested too, but I still like this as a lower high. And you can see it's a quick, easy move again on a second entry short in the direction you would expect we would go, because we're probably this might be a range, or it could just be a trend down. There is a trend line here as well. I didn't draw it, but it's there. And notice we make a triple test here and a nice signal bar, and it is a higher low, and boom, another easy move back to the other side. And then we make another test up here, a big bearish bar right off the highs, triple test, 1, 2, 3, and another easy move. Now this one took a minute to go out. You would have taken a little heat on this one, but if you put your stop where we teach you, there's very low risk of getting stopped out on that, and the next thing you know, the bottom falls out of it, and boom. And if you wait till the first bar that exits, that closes outside the exit, your trend, if you catch a runner, I mean, there's another 13 points. Relatively easy. That took no hard. This one took a little heat, but once it was in the money, it took no heat. I mean, it's not even really scary because it's just coming back to the trend line and turning straight down again. And if you'd have got a second entry off this trend line anywhere, you'd probably taken that one. If you get a break here, again, it's just a first entry. It actually, when it makes this little double high and it goes lower, you could treat that like a second entry, but you're pushing the envelope. It could still reverse back up, so just sit tight. And then you bounce here on the second entry. That is really tempting. It's not a great, I mean, it's only 4 ticks, so it's so low risk being that far away from the EMA. Honestly, I didn't mark it, but I like that trade, and I'd probably take that trade every time because it's so low risk. I mean, you got those 3 bar matching low, and when it breaks lower and fails real quick, and then, I mean, you're risking 5 ticks, 6 ticks right there to try to make more. And again, you don't get a big runner here, but you easily could get a couple of points on a runner. And then it just kind of hangs around and makes a triple test. And again, it's a very low risk bar. I think this one's 7 ticks or something. 5 ticks. Breaks higher and off it goes. Now this one would have come back and got your runner here if you were playing it at break even or more. And it's working up. You close outside. It tries to make a new high and doesn't, so you can't really go short there yet because you might get burned on that one. And that takes us into 230. So this was a relatively, I mean, there were some really easy trades today. Everything was really straightforward. There's not a lot. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 red or blue ones. So if you can't find 2 or 3 trades out of that, then you don't know what you're doing. And so you should be on the simulator. And if you had it, so you just have to understand that when you don't understand what's going on, it's not because you don't understand the strategy yet, but you just don't have the experience to see it all. There's a lot of small nuances, and you need experience. It's like, I mean, the best thing I can attribute it to, there's 2 things. One of them is flying. It's like flying. You can take classes and learn all the theory of flying and go out there and fly for a few weeks and however long it takes to, and then do your solo, and you got your pilot's license. But how much experience do you really have flying? Not very much. Emergency comes up, you're probably going to freak out. You don't know what to do because you don't have any experience. But over time, that's why, the airlines used to hire so many military pilots, because they have hours and hours and hours of flying experience. They know what to do in certain situations. They understand turbulence. They understand how the wind and the weather and all affects your airplane, and they've got a lot of experience with that. But as a new pilot, you're not going to have much. You're probably only going to be flying and practicing on the prettiest, calmest days. They're not going to let you go out there and do takeoffs on a day, and landings on a day when it's super windy. They're going to say, no, you don't have the experience. It's like trying to land your plane on a calm, sunny day versus in the middle of a thunderstorm with 45-mile-an-hour winds or whatever. There's a big difference. And trading is just like that. Or assume you're playing the piano. You can take lessons and you can learn to play and read the music, and in a few months you might be playing. But it doesn't mean you can go play professionally with a professional band or an orchestra or whatever. How those people play for years and years and years before they are skilled enough to play for money. Why is that? Because it's a skill and they need practice and repetition, and it takes years to get to where you're that good at it. Some people I could never be that good at piano because I don't understand. I can't carry a tune in a bucket. It's like a foreign language to me. I love to listen to music, but I could not make it. I sang in the choir at church as a kid, and but I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. They probably hid me on the back row and covered the microphone. It was if it was near me because I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. But my mother made me go, and I went, and I probably wouldn't have gone if she hadn't made me. But I learned a little bit about music, and I learned, I got to go on some nice trips with the youth group, and I had a good time, but it wasn't something I probably would have done because I never understood music. I couldn't tell if I was hitting a good note or a bad note. They all sound the same to me coming out of my voice, and none of them sound good. So hopefully that makes sense to you, but trading is a skill. And just because you know the strategy, you still don't have the experience and the repetition of it. You need lots of simulation trading live data. Now, I'm not talking about playback or any of that stuff. If that's all you can do, by all means do it. It'll help. But it's not the same as trading live data coming directly from the exchange, because that's exactly it's the exact same data you trade, whether you got live money, real money, or play money. So if you can do it on the simulator trading live data, then there's no reason you can't do it live, other than a lack of experience with real money. I mean, when I say live with real money, other than that lack of experience, and you're going to see stuff that fools you because you don't have the experience. You don't know what to do when the waters aren't calm or the air's blowing 45 miles an hour, or it's a skill, and it all amounts to honing that skill and becoming very confident with it and understanding what prices are. What gets me is somebody will send me their chart and it'll look like this, and they'll say, was this a good trade? Or better yet, it'll probably look more like this. Is this a good trade right here? Now, how do I know if that's a good trade? I mean, it looks like it from what I can see, but I can't see enough of your chart to know what prices we're trying to do. But I get that kind of stuff all the time, or somebody will send me this right here. This is probably more like it, because you don't really know what's going on here, and they'll say, is this a good trade right here? I can't tell you if that's a good trade. I can't see enough of the price action to know what's going on. But if you back way out here and you realize there's no retest of the lows on this yet, this one's played out, so we're probably headed lower. So yeah, that's probably a great trade. And any shorts off here is probably a great trade, because we're still expecting prices to go lower for a retest of this. And right here, you're looking for, you probably got a channel going down here. You just got a lower high right here when you're expecting reversal. So prices are at least probably going to come back to the EMA, even if they don't go lower like they did. So you have to look at the big picture, and you have to understand what prices are doing. And here the whole time they're trying to make a retest of the low on this. They're trying to fill this gap. This is your target. And if you filled that and it kept going lower, the next target would have been these overnight lows. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. But anyway, don't forget our second entry indicator out there. The guys keep asking me to mention that, so I'm going to mention it again. It's available on the website. Go to the website. You can watch a video to see. If you click on that, if you go to our home page, right at the top, you'll see a red button that says second entry indicator. Click on it. It'll take you to the page where you can purchase it if you're interested in it. And at the very bottom, there's a video you can watch that shows you the indicator in action. So if you're interested, go take a look at it. You know, I most of the time people get the basics of the second entry pretty quickly, but it may take them a little bit to see them all because not all of them are real clear. But occasionally you get somebody they try to overcomp. It's nothing complicated. It's just counting 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. That's it. If you can count to 3, you can do a second entry. And just to give you an example, every new swing low, every time this thing makes there's a swing low, there's a swing low, there's a swing low, there's a swing low. So every time you get a new swing low, the count starts over. Double bottoms counted over. That's a double bottom. So you get a new swing low here. First entry. When it broke below that bar, second entry. 0, 1, or no, I'm sorry, 0, 1, 2. That's simple. You made a new swing low here. You just get a first entry, makes a new high. First entry makes a new high. First entry, there's a second entry long, but we're not looking for a long there. Coming back down again. First entry. New swing low, 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 first entry. Second entry right there. Again, it's not one you want to take into all that support, but it's a second entry. It's not a good signal bar either. Then you make a new low. First entry. It makes a new high, so first entry. New. Or actually, we're counting off the bottom here. First couple of swings. First entry. First entry. And then it's the first entry long. Makes a new high. First entry long. Makes a new high. First entry. And then we're going lower again. So you can always have a count going in both directions, but you're interested in entering with the trend. So if the trend's going down, you're counting off the lows. If the trend's going up, you're counting off the highs. Every new swing high, if your trend's going up, every new swing high, the count starts over. If you're trending down, every new swing low, the trend starts over. New swing low, new swing low, new swing low, new swing low momentarily, then another new swing low. So again, if you're trending down, you're counting off the lows, and every new swing low, you start at 0, and then 1, 2, or 1, or 1, 2, 3, or 1, however many they are, until you get a new swing low. So keep that like here, new swing low, first entry, second entry, third entry, and then you make a double bottom, which is like a new swing low. So first entry, and you make a new swing low, first entry, first entry. But by the time you start going up, then you're going to flip-flop right about here because now you're making new highs. So every new high, you start over. So 0, first entry, 0, first entry, second entry, or actually, I'm sorry, new high, first entry, second entry. And it makes a new high, first entry, second entry. Makes a new high, it turns down, so that's just a first entry. New high, first entry, second entry. Makes another, now we're trending lower, so every new low, first entry, first entry, first entry, and once you start going sideways, when you get in tight ranges, we don't count second entries. You just look to go short off the highs or long off the lows. That simple. But it just takes experience doing it. I mean, you're probably not going to catch it on the first time you look at it the first day. Some people will, but it just takes time. It's a skill. So, but it's not, counting second entries is nothing hard. But if you need help, get the indicator. $100 is nothing. And it'll pay for itself 100 times over if you learn it. 1,000 times over. If you get really good at this and do it for a living, it'll pay for itself 1,000,000 times over. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Hope you had a good week. I'll see you Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.